What if I told you that the Miami Dolphins' Week 1 clash with the Indianapolis Colts wasn't just a football game, which is a full-blown reality show explosion on national television? Forget the X's and O's, this was betrayal, tempers flaring, and shocking confessions that left fans gasping louder than the final whistle. From the very first snap, the tension was so thick you could cut it with a knife, and by halftime, it wasn't just players going head-to-head, it was families, teammates, and even coaches locked in a storm of accusations and secrets spilling out in real time. Imagine star players caught in heated sideline arguments, pointing fingers not just about plays on the field, but about personal betrayals off it. Picture fans in the stands turning on each other, chanting in anger, while cameras caught every emotional breakdown and dramatic confrontation. This wasn't football, it was chaos disguised as a game. And just when you thought it couldn't get any messier, an unexpected twist involving a family member in the crowd sent the stadium into complete meltdown. The Dolphins versus Colts battle will be remembered not for touchdowns or field goals, but for drama so explosive it blurred the line between sports and scandal. The stadium lights burned brighter than ever on. It's the opening Sunday night of the new season. But what unfolded was not the clean start fans imagined. Miami Dolphins against the Indianapolis Colts was supposed to be about fresh beginnings, about proving dominance, about football glory. Instead, it quickly spiraled into a circus of emotions, hidden grudges, and family secrets erupting in front of millions from the first quarter. There was something off. Dolphins quarterback Kyler Murray, hailed as the new face of Miami footballs, seemed distracted. His throws were sharp, but his eyes kept drifting toward the sideline. Fans at home noticed, commentators whispered, and soon the cameras revealed why. Sitting behind the Dolphins bench was none other than his estranged brother, Marcus, wearing a Colts jersey, smirking every time Miami faltered. The tension wasn't just on the field. It was in the bloodline. "You really came here to watch me fall, huh?" Yolan was caught on the mic, muttering under his breath after throwing an incomplete pass. His teammates tried to calm him down, but it was too late. The drama had started, and it was going to spill over far beyond the game itself. The Colts, led by their fiery wide receiver Darius Cole, wasted no time adding gasoline to the fire. After catching a touchdown pass, Darius turned toward the Dolphins sideline and yelled, "This isn't your house anymore," while pointing directly at Jalen's brother in the stands. The crowd gasped. Dolphins fans erupted in boos. What should have been just a celebratory taunt suddenly felt deeply personal, like a storyline written for a reality show more than a football highlight reel. At that moment, the Dolphins sideline fractured. Some players urged Yolan to ignore it and focus on the game. Others, clearly riled up, shouted back at the Colts. Head coach Leonard Wilson stormed down the sideline screaming for order, but his voice was drowned out by the chaos. The camera zoomed in on his face, red with fury, sweat dripping, his headset barely clinging on as he barked, "Focus. Damn it, focus." But focus was impossible because the drama off the field was only just beginning. In the second quarter, while Miami attempted to regroup, a camera cut to the stands where Jalen's mother sat between Marcus and their younger sister. Her expression was cold, her hands folded tightly in her lap as though she was guarding a secret she couldn't let slip. Whispers spread across social media instantly. Why was Marcus, the estranged brother, sitting with their mother if he hadn't spoken to Yolan in years? Fans speculated about family betrayals, financial disputes, and even old scandals buried under the rug. Twitter was ablaze. #Dolphins drama started trending worldwide before halftime. On the field, things only worsened. After a brutal sack that left Yolan on the turf, Darius Cole stood over him and muttered something the microphones barely picked up. Analysts later slowed down the clip, convinced he said, "Your own blood wants you to fail." Yolan shot up, shoved at Darius, and within seconds, both benches emptied as players stormed the field. Helmets clashed, fists flew, referees blew whistles so frantically it sounded like an alarm. It wasn't football anymore, it was a battlefield fueled by anger, betrayal, and decades-old grudges spilling into the open. This is supposed to be the NFL, not a soap opera, one commentator muttered. But viewers couldn't look away when order was finally restored. Both teams were penalized heavily, and tensions refused to cool down. Fans in the stands mirrored the players' energy, some Dolphins loyalists screaming at Colts fans, while others turned on their own, shouting about betrayal and calling out Jalan's family. One woman was even escorted out by security after throwing her popcorn at Marcus, accusing him of being a traitor brother. Back in the locker room at halftime, emotions boiled over. Sources later revealed what cameras couldn't. Yolan confronted his coach, insisting he couldn't concentrate with his family seated so close, practically mocking him. "You don't understand," Yolan shouted, his voice echoing through the locker room. "He's not just some guy in the stands. He's my brother, and he came here to see me crash." Players looked on in stunned silence. Some backed him up, nodding sympathetically, while others whispered that personal drama shouldn't matter in professional football. The locker room was divided, a fracture that mirrored the very game they were losing, as if the family drama wasn't enough. A shocking twist unraveled in the stands during halftime. Reporters swarmed around Marcus, shoving microphones in his face, demanding answers. At first, he laughed it off, sipping his soda smugly. But then he dropped a bombshell that sent shockwaves across the NFL. Let's just say he teased. Jalen's not the only Murray who could have been out there tonight. But some people in this family didn't want to share the spotlight. Gasps filled the stadium as speculation ignited. Was Marcus implying he was once a player who got sabotaged? Was there some dark family secret about talent, jealousy, or betrayal? No one knew for sure. But the mystery was too juicy to ignore as the teams returned for the third quarter. The energy was electric, but not in the way fans expected. It wasn't about touchdowns anymore. It was about secrets. It was about which bombshell would drop next. The Colts led the scoreboard. But the real show was happening on the sidelines and in the crowd. Cameras caught Darius Cole whispering with Marcus during a timeout, pointing toward the Dolphins bench and laughing. The narrative twisted instantly. Was there an alliance forming between the Colts star receiver and Jalen's brother? Had this been orchestrated all along? Fans couldn't believe it. "This is betrayal at the highest level," one shocked supporter tweeted. "If Marcus is teaming up with the Colts to sabotage his own brother, then this is bigger than football. This is war." Yolan, seeing his brother laughing with his rival, erupted in anger. Slamming his helmet down on the turf, he shouted at his teammates, "You see that? You see what they're doing to me? It's not just them out there, it's my own blood." Some players rallied behind him, trying to pump him up, insisting he prove everyone wrong by leading a comeback. But others rolled their eyes, muttering that the drama was distracting the entire squad. The locker room fractures had spilled onto the field. Then came the play that would define the night. With Miami trailing, Yolan dropped back to throw a crucial pass. As the ball soared, Darius intercepted it spectacularly, sprinting down the field for another Colts touchdown. The crowd erupted, but the camera cut to Marcus standing in the stands, clapping and cheering wildly. It was too much for Yolan to handle. He ripped off his helmet, screamed toward the stands, "You'll never break me," and stormed to the bench, tears streaming down his face. The image was haunting. Quarterback torn between fighting for victory and drowning in betrayal. The Dolphins were collapsing on the scoreboard. But the real question looming was darker. What secret was Marcus hinting at? Why was the family siding against their own star? And how far was Darius Cole willing to go to push Yolan over the edge? The third quarter bled into the fourth. And the game that was once about football had turned into a family feud under stadium lights. Yolan sat on the bench, his shoulders slumped, the cameras glued to him as if waiting for a meltdown. But the real storm was brewing just a few feet away. His mother finally stood up from her seat. The stadium felt eerily silent as fans realized something. Bigger was happening. She walked down the steps toward the field, escorted by security, her expression unreadable. The commentators went silent for a moment. Then one of them whispered, "Is she?" Going to confront her own son on live television? It was the kind of drama no scriptwriter could have invented. Yet it unfolded in real time. As the Dolphins called a timeout, Yolan spotted her near the sideline. His eyes widened, a mix of anger and heartbreak. "You shouldn't be here," he shouted, his voice cracking. The crowd gasped. Microphones picked up every word. Hismother.com, but Sharp replied, "You think this is all about you? You think you're the only one carrying this family's name? You don't know the whole story, Yolan. Maybe it's time the world does." The crowd erupted. Fans shrieking as if they were watching the finale of a drama series rather than a football game. Social media exploded. Hashtags like #FamilyBetrayal and #DolphinsSoapOpera trended within minutes. On the Colts sideline, Darius Cole grinned ear to ear, feeding off the chaos. He leaned into his quarterback and whispered, "Watch this blow him apart." He won't recover. The cameras caught it. Lip readers confirmed it. Fans screamed online about how Darius was stoking the fire, making himself the villain the story never knew it needed. But then, the twist no one saw coming hit like a tidal wave. Marcus stood up in the stands and yelled across the stadium, "Tell him, Mom. Tell him the truth about why I never made it to the league." The crowd gasped again. Jalen's head snapped up, eyes locking on his brother. "What are you talking about?" he shouted. His mother froze, her lips trembling, her eyes darting between her two sons. The silence was unbearable. Finally, with the cameras zooming so close, you could see the tears welling in her eyes. She confessed, "Because I chose you, Yolan. I chose you over him. I made sure you were the one who got the training, the attention, the money. I picked one son to succeed, and I left the other behind." The stadium fell into stunned silence, followed by a deafening roar of shock. Fans were on their feet, some booing, others screaming in disbelief. The idea that a mother had chosen one child's future over another's was too raw, too scandalous, too unbelievable. Jalen staggered back, clutching his helmet like it weighed 1,000 pounds. You sabotaged him. You destroyed his dreams for me." His voice cracked with disbelief. Marcus, his face twisted with rage, shouted from the stands, "You think I wanted this? You think I wanted to sit here in a jersey that isn't mine, cheering for your rival, watching you get everything I was denied? I hate you, Yolan. I hate what you represent." The Dolphins sideline was chaos. Some players tried to shield their quarterback from the cameras, while others couldn't stop staring at the unfolding soap opera. Even the referees looked uncomfortable, unsure whether to resume the game or let the family drama finish playing out. Beacon fans online declared it the most shocking halftime revelation in sports history. One viral tweet read, "We came for football, but we're staying for the betrayal. This is the Kardashians meets the NFL." And yet, the game still had to continue. Jalen returned to the field, but his body language screamed defeat. His throws were rushed, his steps shaky. His mind wasn't on the game anymore. It was on every word his mother had just spoken. The Dolphins' offense fell apart, unable to rally behind a leader who was breaking in front of them. Meanwhile, the Colts capitalized, scoring again. Darius Cole danced in the end zone, pointing at Yolan and then at Marcus in the stands. "This is your real team," he screamed, motioning toward Marcus as if to crown him part of the Colts family. That was the breaking point. Yolan snapped. He stormed toward the Colts sideline, shoving Darius with such force that coaches and players had to restrain him. The referees threw flags, fans hurled insults, and chaos threatened to shut down the game entirely. "Get him under control," head coach Leonard Wilson screamed, veins bulging in his neck. But how could anyone control a man who had just watched his entire life unravel in front of millions? The tension reached another boiling point when the Dolphins' defense refused to return to the field. Linebackers muttered, "This isn't football anymore. This is a circus." The coaches begged them. But some players flat out sat on the bench, refusing to participate until the drama cooled. On the other sideline, the Colts players were energized, feeding off the chaos. Keep pushing him, Darius told his teammates. The more he crumbles, the bigger our win. But some Colts weren't so sure. Their quarterback muttered, "This isn't right, man. We're exploiting a family falling apart." In the stands, fans were turning on each other. Dolphins loyalists screamed at Marcus, accusing him of destroying his brother's career. Others defended him, shouting that he was finally exposing the truth about a rigged system within the family. One viral video showed a father and son arguing so fiercely over the brothers' feud that security had to separate them. As the fourth quarter ticked down, the score was irrelevant. What mattered was the story. And the story was about to take another shocking turn with just minutes left. Marcus left his seat and started walking down toward the field. Fans booed, some even threw drinks, but he pushed through, determined. He stood just behind the Dolphins bench, staring down at his brother, waiting for eye contact. "You don't deserve this jersey," Marcus shouted, his voice shaking with emotion. "You never did. You stole my future, and Mom let you." Yolan finally looked up, his face red and wet with tears. "I never asked for this," he screamed back. "I never wanted to take anything from you. I just wanted to play the game I love." The stadium was electric. Every camera capturing the raw pain between two brothers torn apart by choices made years ago, and then, in an explosive moment, Marcus ripped off his Colts jersey to reveal a faded Dolphins shirt underneath. The crowd gasped, unsure whether it was a sign of solidarity or mockery. "This should have been me," Marcus roared, holding the shirt to his chest. "This was supposed to be my dream." Yolan dropped to his knees on the sideline, overwhelmed, unable to process the betrayal, the revelation, and the pressure of millions watching his family disintegrate. Teammates surrounded him, some comforting, others shaking their heads in disbelief, as the final whistle blew and the Colts secured their victory. No one cared about the score. The headlines weren't about touchdowns or interceptions, they were about the Murray family scandal. A revelation that had turned an NFL game into a full-blown reality TV finale. But even then, the story wasn't over. Because as Marcus was escorted out by security, he turned one last time toward the cameras and yelled, "You think this is bad? You haven't heard the half of it. The real secret will end his career forever." The stadium gasped, reporters scrambled, and fans screamed louder than they had all night. The stadium emptied in chaos. But the story didn't leave with the fans. Marcus's parting words echoed louder than the final whistle. The real secret will end his career forever. It was the kind of line that doesn't just fade when the lights shut off, it grows, spreads, festers. Reporters swarmed outside the stadium, shouting questions, desperate for clarity. Social media spun out of control, with fans dissecting every facial twitch of Marcus, every tear of Yolan, every icy glare from their mother. Inside the Dolphins locker room, the atmosphere was suffocating. Players sat in stunned silence, the air thick with whispers and side glances. Yolan sat in the corner, still in full gear, helmet dangling loosely in his hands, as though taking it off would mean accepting defeat. His coach, Leonard Wilson, paced back and forth, tugging at his hair. "We came here to play football," he muttered, almost to himself. "But we got dragged into a damn soap opera." Finally, one teammate broke the silence. "What did he mean, Yolan? What secret?" The question hung heavy, slicing the air. All eyes turned to Yolan, who shook his head violently. "I don't know. I swear I don't know." His voice cracked, his desperation painfully real. But not everyone believed him. Some teammates exchanged skeptical looks, whispering under their breath. The seed of doubt had been planted, and it was growing faster than anyone could stop. Meanwhile, in the Colts locker room, Darius Cole basked in the chaos. He strutted around, laughing, telling anyone who would listen, "We didn't just win the game, we destroyed him. We exposed him." But not every Colt was celebrating. Their quarterback pulled Darius aside. "This isn't football anymore," he said quietly. "You're messing with someone's life, man. You're turning the game into a family war." Darius smirked, brushing it off. "Exactly. That's how you break them. On the field and off it. Back outside, the press hounded Marcus as security tried to usher him away. Microphones were shoved in his face, reporters screaming over one another. What's the secret? Does it involve the Dolphins? Are you saying Yolan cheated? Marcus stopped just long enough to throw gasoline on the fire. Let's just say the world doesn't really know who they're cheering for. The man you see on that field isn't the hero you think he is. And with that, he disappeared into the night, leaving a storm in his wake by the time Yolan returned home. The drama had already consumed the nation. Every sports show, every late-night talk show, every gossip outlet had the story plastered across their screens. Family Feud explodes during Dolphins-Colts game. Brother hints at dark secret. Is Yolan Murray living a lie? The headlines weren't about football, they were about betrayal. At home, the situation only worsened. His sister, who had sat quietly between Marcus and their mother during the game, finally spoke up. Maybe he's right, she said softly, her voice trembling. Maybe you're not who everyone thinks you are. Yolan froze, his heart pounding. What are you talking about? He demanded. She looked away, tears streaming down her face. There are things you don't know, Yolan. Things Mom never told you. That night, fans camped outside his house holding signs, chanting, demanding answers. Some defended him, shouting, "We believe in you, Yolan." Others were ruthless, screaming, "Tell the truth." The scene resembled a reality TV reunion show more than a sports moment, complete with tears, accusations, and a nation divided. The next day, the Dolphins held a press conference. Cameras flashed, journalists leaned forward in anticipation, and Yolan sat at the podium, visibly shaken. "I don't know what my brother is talking about," he said, his voice steady but his hands trembling. "All I know is that I've worked hard to get here. I've sacrificed everything for this game. If there are secrets, they're not mine." But just as reporters were ready to pounce with follow-up questions, a shocking interruption occurred. Marcus barged into the press room, security trailing behind him. The crowd erupted in chaos as he stormed toward the stage. "You want the truth?" Marcus shouted, his voice echoing through the microphones. "You don't deserve to hide anymore, Yolan. You don't deserve to live this lie." The room fell silent as Marcus pulled a crumpled envelope from his jacket. He slammed it on the podium in front of his brother. "This is the proof," he said, his voice shaking with both rage and triumph. "The proof that will end everything." Jalen's face drained of color. He stared at the envelope as if it were a ticking bomb. The press went wild, shouting questions, cameras flashing, the scene teetering on the edge of complete anarchy. Before Yolan could respond, security dragged Marcus out, his shouts echoing down the hallway. "The world will know the truth." He screamed. "You can't hide forever." The press conference ended in chaos. No questions answered, only more raised. Fans left stunned, their faith in their quarterback shaken. That night, speculation consumed every corner of the internet. What was in the envelope? Was it evidence of cheating? A scandal from his past? Or something even darker? Theories ranged from academic fraud in college to secret paternity issues to a hidden medical condition. No one knew for sure, but everyone was desperate to find out. Back in the Dolphins facility, Yolan confronted his mother privately. "What is he talking about?" he demanded. "What's in that envelope?" His mother, her face pale, whispered, "It's not what you think, but it's something you were never supposed to know." Her voice broke as she added, "If it comes out, everything we built will fall apart." Yolan was speechless, torn between anger and fear. His entire career, his reputation, his family legacy, everything was hanging by a thread. And as if fate wanted to twist the knife deeper, Darius Cole went live on social media that very night. Lounging casually in his home, he smirked at the camera. "So Marcus says he's got proof, huh? Well, I've seen some things too. And let me tell you, Dolphins fans, you're not ready for the truth. The man you call your leader might just be the biggest fraud the league has ever seen." Millions tuned in, fueling the fire. Some cheered him on, others cursed him, but the damage was done. Darius had inserted himself into the family drama, turning it into a league-wide scandal. The Dolphins organization scrambled, issuing statements begging fans to focus on the next game. But no one cared about football anymore. All eyes were on the Murray family, waiting for the secret to explode. And then came the leak. Late into the night, an anonymous source sent documents to every major sports outlet. Papers that hinted at a hidden past, sealed records, and an identity that didn't match the one Yolande claimed. The headlines the next morning were merciless. Who is the real Yolande Murray? The world had changed overnight. Fans weren't just questioning his talent, they were questioning his very identity as reporters camped outside his house, shouting questions as teammates whispered in the locker room. As fans rioted online, one thing became clear. The real drama wasn't the game against the Colts. The real drama was about to unfold in front of the entire world. The night after the documents leaked, Miami was no longer just a city preparing for Week 2 of the NFL season. It was the epicenter of a scandal gripping the entire country. Helicopters circled above Jalen's house. Camera crews camped on every corner, and fans crowded outside holding signs that read, "Tell the truth and we still believe." Inside, Yolande was pacing furiously, his phone buzzing nonstop with calls from teammates, reporters, and even league officials. Every ring felt like a dagger, every unanswered message another reminder that his life was spiraling out of control. Finally, he snapped, tossing the phone against the wall. "Enough." He screamed. His mother flinched while his sister buried her face in her hands. "You owe him the truth," his sister whispered. "You owe all of us the truth." His mother shook her head, tears streaming. "The truth will destroy him. It will destroy everything." "It's already destroyed," Yolande said bitterly. "Marcus has seen to that. Darius has seen to that. And maybe you did too." The room fell silent, but then the doorbell rang. When Yolande opened the door, cameras flashed instantly. Standing there was Marcus, his face a mix of rage and triumph, flanked by reporters. "Let's end this charade," Marcus said coldly. Security tried to hold the crowd back, but Marcus forced his way inside, shoving the envelope back into Jalen's chest. "Open it," he demanded. "Show the world what you've been hiding." Jalen's hands shook as he tore the flap. Inside were birth records, faded but legible, and letters that had been sealed for decades. The room spun as he read the words aloud, his voice trembling. "Yolande Murray, born to Danielle Murray. But father, unknown." He paused, his heart pounding. "But here it says, Marcus, you and I, we're not just brothers. We're half-brothers, different fathers. We're half-brothers, different fathers." The crowd outside gasped as the microphones picked up every word. But Marcus wasn't satisfied. He snatched the paper back and slammed another letter on the table. "Tell them the rest, Yolande. Tell them who your real father is." Jalen's mother broke down, collapsing to the floor. "Please don't," she begged. "Please, Marcus, don't do this to him." But it was too late. Marcus turned to the cameras, his voice sharp and cold. "The truth is, Jalen's father wasn't some average man. His father was a former coach in this very league. A man who pulled strings, who paid his way into opportunities I never got. Jalen's entire career is built on lies, favoritism, and a legacy that was never his to begin with." The revelation hit like a bomb. Fans screamed in disbelief. Reporters shouted questions over each other. Twitter and Instagram exploded with speculation about which coach it was. Digging through archives, old photos, rumors from decades past, Jalen stood frozen, the walls closing in. "I didn't know," he whispered, his voice barely audible. "I swear to God, I didn't know." But Marcus wasn't done. "You think that matters? You think ignorance absolves you? The league bent the rules for you because of who your father was while I was left with nothing. You were chosen before the game even started. The family was in ruins." His sister sobbed, torn between two brothers locked in a war of blood and betrayal. His mother, on her knees, cried out, "I did what I thought was best. I wanted at least one of you to succeed. I thought protecting the truth would protect you both." The cameras captured every second. It was no longer a private family feud. It was the biggest scandal the NFL had ever seen, unfolding like a reality TV finale in real time. And then as if the universe wanted to turn the knife even deeper. Darius Cole went live again, chiming in with venomous glee. "So the truth is out," he said, smirking into his phone. "Turns out our golden boy quarterback was handed his crown before he even stepped on the field. Fans, I told you he was a fraud." He leaned closer to the camera, his voice dripping with mockery. "And if you think this is bad, wait until you hear what else I know." This story isn't finished. The league called an emergency meeting. Rumors swirling about suspensions, investigations, even potential bans. Some fans rallied to defend Yolan, insisting he wasn't responsible for the sins of his parents. Others turned against him, demanding he resign. The Dolphins organization itself was divided, some players threatening to walk out if he stayed. Others pledging to stand by him no matter what. In the midst of the chaos, Yolan confronted Marcus one last time. "You got what you wanted," he said, his voice hollow. "You exposed me. You ruined me. But was it worth it? Does it make you feel better?" Marcus's face softened for the first time. His eyes glistened, his anger breaking into sorrow. "I didn't want to ruin you," he whispered. "I just wanted the world to know the truth. I wanted them to know what they took from me. I wanted them to know that you weren't the only Murray who could have been great." For a moment, the brothers stood in silence, the years of resentment, jealousy, and pain hanging heavy between them. But the damage was done. The world had heard the truth. The family was fractured, and the Dolphins, once a team preparing for a season of glory, were now a franchise drowning in scandal. The night ended with Yolan sitting alone in the dark, scrolling through endless streams of hate and sympathy online. One comment caught his eye, a simple message from a fan. "We don't care who your father is. Prove yourself on the field." He clutched the phone tightly, tears welling again. Maybe he could rebuild, maybe he couldn't. But one thing was certain, the drama had changed everything. The Dolphins versus Colts game would go down in history not for touchdowns or tackles, but for secrets revealed, families torn apart, and a scandal that blurred the line between sports and reality TV forever as the camera crews packed up outside his house. Marcus stood under the streetlight, watching quietly. His face was unreadable, his motives unclear. Was he satisfied? Was he regretful? No one could tell. And just as the scene faded, Darius Cole posted one last cryptic message online. "The Murray saga isn't over. Stay tuned." The cliffhanger left fans stunned, analysts speechless, and an entire league teetering on the edge of collapse. And so, what started as a simple Week 1 clash between the Dolphins and the Colts spiraled into the most shocking scandal the NFL has ever seen. It wasn't about scores, it wasn't about stats, it wasn't even about who walked away with the win on the field. It was about betrayal, family secrets, and a revelation so explosive it blurred every line between sports and reality television. The image of Yolan sitting alone in the dark, his career hanging by a thread, will haunt fans for years. The revelation of Marcus's pain, of a mother's impossible choice, and of a legacy built on hidden truths, left the family divided and the world stunned. Darius Cole's taunts added fuel to a fire that may never burn out. Questions still hang heavy in the air. Will Yolan fight back and prove himself on the field? Or will the weight of scandal crush him before the season even begins? Will Marcus find peace now that the secret is out? Or has he unleashed a storm he can no longer control? And what more does Darius know that he's keeping in his back pocket, waiting to strike at just the right moment? Fans are divided, the league is rattled, and the future of the Dolphins feels more uncertain than ever. But one thing is undeniable. This was not just a football game. This was a moment of raw humanity, of drama so real and painful that no one could look away. And now it's your turn. What do you think? Is Yolan guilty of living a lie? Or is he simply a victim of choices made long before he could defend himself? Was Marcus right to expose the truth? Or did he go too far? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. And don't forget to like this video if you were just as shocked as we were. Hit that subscribe button for more jaw-dropping drama. Because if tonight taught us anything, it's this: the story is only just beginning. only just beginning.